Jai Shri Ram. Conformity. Conformity simply means you are willing to follow rules, customs, traditions, mores. 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 Mores means acharalu. Huh? Achar, vyavahar. So, customs, traditions. So, if you follow all the mores, then you are a conformist. If you don't follow, then you are a non-conformist. If you do the exact opposite of what the rules is, then you can be called a contrarian. Contrarian. So, why am I discussing this word? Because it's an important word, and also there are lots of GRE essay topics on this topic. Essay prompts, essay topics are there on this issue, on this idea of conformity. Now, I've written the meanings there also. You see, similarity in form or character, agreement. I acted in conformity with my principles. Okay. Conformity, the second meaning which I already told you, which is following the standards, conventions, rules, laws, mores, etc. Compliance in action, behavior, etc. with certain accepted standards. Conformity to university regulations. Peer pressure. Peer means equals, compeers, your classmates, your colleagues, your compeers. Compeer. Compeer means people who work along with you, your colleagues. Now, peer pressure is a concept you should be already aware. That means if all your friends are, let's say, having an iPhone, then you would probably ask your father, your parent, to get you an iPhone, because if you don't have an iPhone and if you have something else, the others are likely to look down on you. They might talk patronizingly to you, they might patronize you, they might condescend to you, they might talk condescendingly to you. To patronize and condescend means to look down. So that is peer pressure. Peer pressure is a problem when you are an adolescent. You will feel peer pressure much more intensely than when you are an adult. If you are a fully grown, mature adult, then you might become a non-conformist and peer pressure would not bother you at all. But when you are a teenager, an adolescent, and youth, they feel the pressure of peer pressure. So if everyone is wearing a particular type of branded tie or a branded shirt, branded shoes, or a branded perfume, so this peer pressure kicks in and they will begin to imitate. And this is also called snobbery. You see, SNOB, snob. A snob means a person who imitates the fashion set by the rich or the people who are above them in rank, and then looks down on others who don't follow this fashion. So they become what is called a snob. All kinds of snobs are there in society: book snobs, movie snobs, wine snobs, whiskey snobs, coffee snobs, tea snobs, even religious snobs, temple snobs. These are temple snobs, I call them. The people who keep boasting that they have seen this temple, that temple, they have been to all these temples. So these kind of snobs are there. So snobs are in every place. Right? Snobs are people who are acutely conscious of status. They will imitate people who are richer than them. And you see, look at the advertisements. They all have a snob value because some celebrity is endorsing it. Some film actor, some idiot will come and promote some perfume or some clothes or some crap like that. And snobs are the first people to buy it, because then they can show off to the others. This is snobbery. The adjective is snobbish. Snobbish behavior. Snobbery is the noun, snob is the person. Snob value. Advertisements have a lot of snob value. That is why they get film actors to endorse these products, which are basically attracting snobs. And then conformity. Everyone, the rich snobs will be the first people to buy it because the celebrity endorsed it. Then the not so rich snobs will wait for the marketer to reduce the price. You see, marketers are very smart. They do what is called rapid skimming strategy in marketing. When a product is introduced, it is always introduced at a high price so that the celebrities will first endorse it, and the rich snobs will be the first people to buy it. And after all the rich snobs have bought it, then it is now time to reduce the price and offer an discount so that the middle class snobs will be able to buy it. So once the middle class snobs have all bought it, so the market is almost saturated. Now it will be slashed, 80% discount. So the lower level snobs, lower middle class snobs, they will now buy it, because then that satisfies their snobbery. Now they feel somewhat equal to the others who are rich and all that. But the marketer is not going to keep quiet. He is going to introduce a new product endorsed by another celebrity, which will be totally new and it will be very high priced. So now the rich snobs will sell off their old iPhones or whatever, and that will be available in the grey market, and the lower middle class snobs will be ready to buy that. And in the meanwhile, the rich snobs will start buying the new stuff. So this rigmarole goes on. Rigmarole. Rigmarole means a roundabout, like a merry-go-round, or a needlessly complex process going round and round. So anyway, conformity. So I discussed the meaning of the word conformity, and I'm sure if you have been listening to me, you will fully understand the meaning of the word conformity. Now there are so many issues on this topic of conformity. Now I'm reading out one for you. Conformity almost always deadens the individual's energy and creativity. Okay, that means if you are conforming, then the speaker says that your energy will be killed, it will be deadened, and your creativity will also be deadened. Yes, so that's a very sweeping generalization, because the speaker is saying almost always, that means 9 out of 10 times this is what will happen if you conform. So I think we can take a very, very reasonable position by saying that in some cases conformity can deaden an individual's energy and creativity, but to say that it does so almost always is amounting to a sweeping generalization, and therefore that is not reasonable. So in other words, all forms of conformity are not necessarily bad, some forms, because some forms of conformity are good. They can actually educate a person, and then the person's creativity can actually be developed, and the enthusiasm and morale can also be boosted. Full stop. So that will be your introduction. In short, what we said was, not all forms of conformity are bad. Some forms of conformity are bad. Some forms of conformity are essential for a person to grow, increase in knowledge, develop a skill, etc. So now, when you are writing an essay, you will write one paragraph, first paragraph. Now let us examine those forms of conformity which are actually deadening, which can deaden an individual's creativity, energy, and in fact actually harm society's progress. Full stop. Now you can talk about people at one time believing that the earth is flat and the sun is going around the earth, and so Galileo came and said no, that's not true. He was almost tortured to death, and finally we now know that the sun doesn't rise in the east. That is a lie. Sun doesn't rise or set. It is because of the revolution. The earth keeps revolving around the sun. It's not the other way around. And the earth is not flat. The earth is a spheroid, oblate spheroid. Right. So blindly believing these superstitions is not good. Human society cannot progress. So some more examples you can add. People believe that diseases are caused by gods who are very angry. Today we know gods might be angry, but diseases are caused by microorganisms, viri, plural of virus, and bacteria and viri and all that. So that's how we have developed. And people conform to all kinds of superstitious practices, and they have all kinds of irrational fears. So conformity to mindless superstitions is again dangerous. So societies cannot progress if people are superstitious. Okay, so like this you can go on talking about conformity to religious dogmas which encourage misanthropy, misogyny, conforming to some holy books. Some holy books are indeed guilty of treating women shabbily, as if women are inferior. And for thousands of years women have been treated shabbily, and suffrage was denied to them. suffrag. Suffrage means the voting rights. So even in America till 1950, I think, women were not given the right to vote. So that I think is dangerous, and societies cannot progress if women are suppressed because 50% of human population is women. So, and there is no way women are inferior, except perhaps in physical strength because of the biological function of childbearing. Because of the biological function of childbearing, women's bodies are differently structured, and one thing is certain: they are not physically as strong as men. But that's not true in all cases. Women of certain races are far stronger physically than men of certain other races. So anyway, besides this observation, I think there's nothing at all to say that women are in any way inferior. So throughout the world, and even today, unfortunately, in many religious communities, women are treated as secondary and inferior, and are denied rights and all that. So this is dangerous. This kind of conformity, forcing women to stay at home, bear only children. Bearing children is the only function, cooking food, and forcing them to wear a particular dress code, and abusing them, and allowing polygamy. If polygamy is allowed, and if a man can have 5 wives, I think in the name of equality, a woman should be allowed the privilege of having 5 husbands. So as long as this equality is not extended, then it's nothing but exploitation of women. So conformity to many things is dangerous, and fortunately, we are in this century, in this age, where much of the world has gotten over these kind of meaningless conformities. Okay, so you will write one paragraph about what to conform to. You must conform to certain higher values. You must conform to the constitution, to the law of the nation, and virtues and values like egalitarianism, equal society, democratic values, secularism, and you must conform to unconditional positive regard toward all religions, and condemn all kinds of bigotry. So these are higher virtues and values, great moral qualities, and if everyone conforms to these higher values, society will be much more peaceful, there will be less crime, and so conformity. And if a student enters a college, he has to conform to the regulations of the university, of the college. And if you happen to learn a trade or a skill or a musical instrument, the coach will expect you to conform to certain disciplines and certain regimen. So without that, you cannot master any skill or trade, or any such talent cannot be developed. So without this kind of conformity, one cannot learn anything. So please write 2 paragraphs on that. And so 2 paragraphs on what kind of conformity is good. I gave you a lot of examples: conform to the law, conform to the constitution, blah blah blah. And 2 paragraphs, what kind of conformity is bad, and which will delay progress and retard the progress of society, not just the individual. The whole society will become very benighted and backward. BENIGHTED. Now let's look at this is a very interesting small questionnaire. Are you a nonconformist? You often say things that make people uncomfortable. Do you? If you strongly agree, that means you are a strong nonconformist. Most of society's rules are archaic and outdated and don't apply to you. You happily break them. If you do, then you are a strong nonconformist. You keep an odd schedule. A 9 to 5 job would not be a good idea. Again, you are a nonconformist. You define success by your own terms, and most people would not agree with you. Again, you are a nonconformist. You aren't religious, or the religion you follow is very unconventional. If you strongly agree, then you are again a nonconformist. You are not afraid to disagree with someone, no matter who it is or what the subject is. So again, if you strongly agree, you are a nonconformist. Authority doesn't impress or scare you. Intimidate you means scare you, daunt you. Strongly agree? Yes, you are again a nonconformist. So you are a bit of a loner. You don't fit in to most group situations. If you are a loner, and if you strongly agree, you are a nonconformist. You would rather take a risk and fail than live a boring life. Yes, then you are a nonconformist. Strongly agree. You have a strong sense of wrong and right that differs from the rest of the world. Well, you are a nonconformist. If you think, if the world tells you that this is right and you blindly follow, then you are a conformist. Okay? You are in the process of indoctrinated, and that's called education. Okay? So please don't get indoctrinated. Indoctrinated means brainwashed. To indoctrinate means to feed the brain with a senseless dogma, to brainwash somebody. So on YouTube you can watch conformity experiments, ASCH, Stanford, I think University of Stanford. They're very interesting. The marshmallow test. Marshmallow is an item of pastry. It's a sugar confectionery. Go to YouTube and type marshmallow test and watch that. It's a very, very wonderful conformity test, and it was a great experiment, and you will get wonderful insights into how conformity can cause us to change our behaviors. Okay, so conformity, some synonyms are obedience, allegiance, docility, orthodoxy, compliance. Remember, Americans pride themselves in a value which is called rugged individualism. Rugged means very tough and rough and tough. Individualism. You can call that the American ethos. Ethos means defining characteristic or culture. The American ethos. What is the American ethos? Rugged individualism. So a nonconformist can also be called a heretic, HERETIC, iconoclast, a maverick, MAVERICK. Okay. So I think you have enough stuff to write a good essay on this theme of conformity. Okay. Finally, are you all masculine and tough because that's how boys are supposed to be? Men can cry. And if there is a particular brand that is so popular, do you buy that brand to fit in? Are your music tastes the same or identical as your friends' tastes? Are you all girly or gully because that's how girls are supposed to be? Okay. Ralph Waldo Emerson, a great American thinker, transcendentalist, who was inspired by the study of Upanishads and the Bhagavad Gita, he said, to be yourself in a world that's constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment. I'll read it again for you. To be yourself in a world that's constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment. Jai Shri Ram.